Well, hello, Beaver County, and welcome to Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. I am your humble host, RE/MAX Advanced Realtor Eric McKenna, here every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m., and delighted that you have chosen us for a little bit of your afternoon. As always, I'm joined by let me rephrase that. I'm joined by Sir Frank Sparks, my very good friend and jack of all trades here at Beaver County Radio, Mr. Beaver County Radio himself, and the man behind the big board. How are you, Frank?
I'm good, Eric. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Did you have a good fourth?
I did have a good fourth. I did.
Good.
Before we get started here, friends, on Beaver County Radio, I want to ask Frank to see if my mic volume, I don't have much mic volume in my earphones.
Give me as much as you want.
That's a little bit much. With that, a little more.
You can turn up where I showed you.
I am, but I am not in the mix loud enough. I can turn. There you go. Now there you go. There you are. Fair enough. Gotcha. Fair enough. Friends, thank you so much again for joining us today. We got a bunch of stuff to talk to, and Sir Frank is just having one of those days, you know? I mean, I feel bad for the guy because it seems like it's my fault, friends. I come in here late. Again, my volume on my mic's going down, buddy. Okay. All right. There you go. A little better. I come in a little late, and there's a mad scramble here. Of course, this is live radio and live Facebook Live and live video and all the good things that we do to keep our message out there. And because we kind of, at Beaver County Radio, there's programs obviously stacked after one. And Miss Brocious, who runs the Yankee Trader, is always so kind to let me come into the end of her show and let me set up over here on my end. And for that, I will always be grateful. And I'm always grateful for all of you, the Beaver County Radio's wide area coverage audience, for tuning us in. This is show number 41, which is kind of hard to believe. We are doing Facebook Live, and I see a bunch of people have already populated. There's Patrick, and our good friend Jimmy Strack is up there. And Rebecca is turning in as well. Thank you. It's starting to populate. That is going to be available on Facebook. Now, if you're listening on Beaver County Radio and you'd like to also join us on Facebook, you just simply go to Facebook and do a search. And in the search bar, you just type in my name, Eric McKenna. You'll see two entries come up there. One's my personal page and one's my business page. And we're running this particular feed today off of my personal page. You just click on that. And right there, as the very first entry, you will see our live video. We've done this for many weeks, and Facebook has been a huge enhancement to this show, to the popularity of this show, and also, quite frankly, it's been a huge enhancement to everything that we do here at Beaver County Radio and in my practice. I am a realtor with RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Bad day. RE/MAX Advanced Realtors, excuse me. And, of course, this show is your personal realtor. Great to have you here. We started this little humble science experiment 41 weeks ago here on Beaver County Radio. We started on Saturdays with a 60-minute format. We were expanded to a 90-minute format before the end of the year. Very gracious. We're very gracious to Mark Peterson and the staff of Beaver County Radio for renewing us for 2017. And the latest thing is we moved to prime time. And I think this is our fourth week prime time. That's about right, Frank? Something like that, fourth week, I think? I don't know if your mic's on now, buddy. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
So this is our
Something
fourth.
like that.
This is our fourth. But the other great thing about the show is it's participatory. And the way you do that is multifaceted. We encourage our listeners to call in on the two most famous numbers in Beaver County. That's 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. And you also can reach out to me in other ways as well while we're live. You can send me an email at sold@calleric.com. Again, that's sold@calleric.com. And if you're on Facebook Live, you're kind enough to spend a portion of your afternoon with us, you can certainly ask questions on there as well. Special hello to Jonathan Swaney tuning in. Good to see you, Jonathan. Thanks for tuning into our show today. Greatly appreciated. As always, we open our shows with some friendly banter, and we always check in with Sir Frank because, Sir Frank Sparks, the juice that keeps this station running, Mr. Beaver County Radio, the man on the air the most, host of Teleforum, program director, grand rodeo enthusiast,
Rodeo.
NASCAR genius. Can I give any more accolades there?
No. Baseball enthusiast, maybe.
Oh, very knowledgeable baseball enthusiast. And is for those of you who have been listening to us and watching us over the past 40 odd weeks, you'll know that I'm also a big baseball fan. And at the end of our shows, we always end up talking a little baseball here.
And a Brett Lowry fan.
And a Brett Lowry. Yes, I am a Brett Lowry fan. I think the Pirates should have picked him up, Frank. I think for the guy to be sitting all year with a soft tissue injury, going through rehab, and advertising his rehabilitation, the Pirates have absolutely missed the opportunity to bring him in as the third baseman when that position, nothing against David Freese, but then again, something against David Freese.
He's froze.
Yeah, that would not have been a bad move at all, in my opinion.
Well, I earlier in the year agreed with you, but now I don't because it's too late in the year and he hasn't seen any major league pitching all season long. It would take too long, I think. And I mean, maybe bring him in and let him hit in AAA for a month or so. And that's a possibility, but to bring him in at a major league level when he hasn't seen any major league pitching since last year.
But that's what the minor leagues are for.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I was trying to get across to you last night through Facebook. Was that I was trying to say, hey, sign him the minor league contract, let him go in the minor leagues for a while. If he starts hitting the ball, bring him up, give him a shot.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And friends, we always encourage our listeners here, any questions at all. And it's funny, we get real estate questions, and then we ultimately get a little baseball questions thrown on the back, and we always encourage that. We love our sports here. This show actually was on Saturdays when we first started, which was pretty cool, and that's how I got to really know Frank very well. Frank was if I'm not mistaken, Frank was the creator and also one of the three hosts. I would call him the lead host of the Saturday Sports Slam.
I was a co-creator.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, I had the idea.
Right.
And then Randy Cosgrove sold the show.
Fair enough.
And that's what.
Okay. Well, he was a co-creator. And from that point on, Frank had a half-hour show called The Lead Lap, which still airs on Saturdays. It was a NASCAR racing show, which, of course, I know nothing about. But I've learned. And then my show followed that. So it was always kind of cool because I would try to get here a little early because once in a while they'd throw me on to the not the lead lap, well, although you did that too. But I would get thrown into the mix for the Sports Slam, and that was just wonderful being able to talk sports with so many knowledgeable people. And we've always carried our anything goes kind of attitude into this show because, friends, this is real estate. That's what we do. And we talk about real estate, and we answer questions about real estate, and we try to demystify real estate the very best we can. Hopefully we have the answers for you, but in case we're ever stumped, and that does happen, and Frank's got a huge real estate encyclopedia I gave him, but right now he's using it to prop up that little table over there. But if we can't find the answer in there, we'll always come back to you in all seriousness the following week with the correct answer. If you indeed email me during the show or during the week, it is sold at calleric.com. I will do my best to address some of the questions I've gotten the past week today on the show, or try to answer your question live if I can. If we have the answer for you, wonderful. But if it's something complex, we do want the correct information to be given to you, and we will never guess on this show. If we don't know for sure, we're going to admit to that, and we're going to get you the right information. That's our guarantee to you. Definitely want to say hello to Maria, my good friend and client, Officer Ken. How are you, my friend? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's very rewarding to see so many people tuning into Facebook Live. It continues to populate week after week after week. I'm also very humbled by some kind words from Sir Frank across the board here that the station in general, Frank, if you want to talk about that for a moment, has embraced the internet even more, and you're doing a lot more Facebook Live and a lot more Facebook things for Beaver County Radio, which I find as awesome. Just awesome.
Well, we learned it from you, to be honest with you. I mean, that's where it started at. You had started with the Facebook Live and doing other social media, and it kind of gave me some ideas along the way that helped, and one of them is the Facebook Live, and I don't know if you saw the one we did this morning. I did. We gave a surprise birthday party and a surprise cake, and there is some here still, but you got to get it before he leaves at 3, Eric.
Okay. Why would that be of an issue?
But my wife made a ice cream cake
an ice cream cake.
An ice cream cake for Pat for his birthday, and what it's made of
is... So
Pat
had his 33rd birthday.
49. And then,
did you have to blow it like that?
Yeah, because Diane Powers changed it to 94.
Oh, ouch.
Or, I mean, ouch. Diane Brown, not Diane Powers. I'm sorry. Ouch. Diane Brown changed it to 94.
I'm sorry, Pat. I did my best, friend.
Yeah.
I did my best.
So
I
this
did my best.
this ice cream cake is a homemade one. It's made from ice cream sandwiches.
Okay.
The bottom cookie of the ice cream sandwich is vanilla.
Yes.
Then in between the ice cream sandwich is vanilla and chocolate, and then the top cookie's chocolate.
Oh.
So you take a layer of that.
My gosh.
You take a layer of that, then you put whipped cream, Cool Whip across the top.
Okay.
And then you put, in this instance, we took our favorite topping, which was Butterfingers. You can buy them crumbled up.
Okay.
Put some Butterfingers in there.
Okay.
Crumbled Butterfingers, and then you put Hershey's,
In the whipped cream.
In the whipped cream, and Hershey's chocolate syrup on the top.
Oh my goodness.
Then you make another level of this, and then you top it all off with whipped cream, Butterfinger topping, Hershey's chocolate syrup, and then you put the little plastic or the little candy things that say "Happy Birthday, Pat," and put a candle, and it was instant success.
Pat is a lucky man on many fronts, but today, from the edible nature, extremely lucky man. That was very nice of your wife to do that.
Yes, and she said, and Pat actually said that was the best birthday cake, and he said, "I am not joking, but it's the best birthday cake I've ever eaten."
I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, and it was very good.
So your wife made that.
Yeah, 9:00 this morning we were all eating it.
Okay, so Mrs. Sparks, if you happen to be listening to the show,
She's working.
you never know. January 29th. January 29th. Mark that day down.
All right.
And instead of Butterfingers, maybe we'll do like Snickers
Well,
bars.
she usually does Oreo cookie,
Oh, that's good. Stop right there. That's perfect.
and it looks like
That's
dirt.
perfect.
You ever, they call
Yeah,
that dirt. It looks like dirt on
yeah.
top. Yeah.
Buddy, my kids, when they were little, it was the gummy bears in the dirt,
Right,
and
and
that was like sugar overload.
She gets people's recipes that are quick recipes like this, and then does things like that with it. So,
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So you have to make sure you get a piece before you go.
Thank you. I've actually been invited to have some food here at the
You better
station.
get a piece before
This is
Pat
great.
leaves. So
This is great. This is great. Okay, friends, as you know, this show is sponsored by my website, calleric.com. Again, that's calleric.com. And I also have another website, which is the same website. It's ericmckenna.com. Either way, whatever is easier for you to remember, that's where you'll find me and find the type of work that I do and everything in regards to my practice as a RE/MAX advanced realtor. Very proud of my brokerage and very proud of this website. I've worked very hard on it to try to extrapolate the very best I can. I will also tell you, too, that we are definitely blessed on this show to have some wonderful sponsors. And I want to talk about our first sponsor, which I usually talk about him last. I'm going to talk about him first today, and that's going to be my good friend Matt Pia with Division 9 Home Inspection. Matt is one of the finest home inspectors without question. And Frank, would you not agree?
I agree.
Absolutely. One of the finest home inspectors in the Valley. Anything relating to home inspection, questions you may have about your house, whether you're selling, whether you're buying, or whether you just want someone to come in and give you an evaluation of the quality of your house, help you identify potential areas of concern or potential cosmetic areas that may be shored up there. Matt is a wonderful source. You can reach Matt directly at 412-715-8123. That's Matt Pia. Now, his website is Division, 9, inspection.com. Again, Division, 9, inspection.com. That's Matt Pia, P-I-A, from Division 9 Home Inspections, 412-715-8123. Also wanted to proudly announce that Ms. Leslie Raymond continues on with her sponsorship of our show. Leslie is with Union Home Mortgage, one of the most wonderful home mortgage agents you could ever have the possibility of working with. Call Leslie for all of your mortgage needs. It's 412-719 412-719-5673. 412-719-5673. NMLS number 138287. PA license 29666. Our show is also sponsored by, also a very good friend of mine, lifestyle, family, and portrait photographer, Ms. Dawn Morris. From infants to toddlers to preteens, all the way to graduation and beyond, let Dawn capture those very special moments of your life for you forever. You can visit Dawn's creative work at gypsysoulsphotography.com. Frank loves that. gypsysoulsphotography.com. She does wonderful work with color, very innovative. I'm also a photographer, so it's kind of easy for me to talk about. I got to be careful that I don't throw any photography speak out there. But I love the way she manipulates depth of field and so forth. Her portrait work is phenomenal. Visit gypsysouls.com and visit Dawn's work and call her for your booking today. And, of course, last but not least, our good friends at Frags Tags, located in downtown Coraopolis, for all your title, transfer, and notary needs. Frags Tags. Call 412-264-3018, 412-264-3018. Tell Jonathan or Michelle that Eric McKenna, your personal realtor, sent you, and those good folks will take care of you. Love them people. Great, great folks. Great sponsor. Very, very happy to have both of them associated with this show. Thank you so much. Matter of fact, I see Brenda, who happens to be Matt Pia's wife, is tuned in. How are you, Brenda? Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. And Frank, I think I'm about ready for a break.
What if I think you're not?
I'm a little talked out at the moment. So, friends, on the other side of this wonderful break that my producer extraordinaire, Sir Frank Sparks, will provide, we're going to come back and talk a little bit to wrap up the buyer's agency last week and why you should never use it. It will encapsulate that, and then we're going to move on to what I can provide you and what I can promise you as being your personal realtor. Right back. And welcome back to the next segment of Your Personal Realtor here on Beaver County Radio. I am your host, RE/MAX Advanced Realtor Eric McKenna. So pleased to be with you, and so pleased that you were kind enough to give us a little portion of your afternoon. Thank you so much. It means the world to both Frank and I, as you know, because Sir Frank Sparks, not only is he Mr. Beaver County Radio and Mr. Everything Behind the Big Board, he is also my adopted co-host. Just to make him cringe over there, I'd love to say that. Love to say that.
I get you.
All right, so just so you know, Frank, my mic is down a little bit.
Gets no higher, buddy.
All right, well, okay, now it's a little better. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I need to be that.
We have the gremlin. Oh, now it's loud. We have the gremlins in here today, it sounds like, maybe. You know? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But well, this has been a great start to the show, though. I've had a couple weeks here recently where the mad scramble to get in and set up, and last week we had a plethora of technical difficulties here. And again, some of it I caused, so I have to take the blame there. But okay, friends, to recap, this has been an interesting week. And the reason I say it's been an interesting week is that I've received quite a few emails, a couple of phone calls, and even a text regarding our content last week. Now, to recap, if you didn't listen to us last week, we talked about dual agency, what dual agency is, how it's legal, how it can be legally done, how it is ethical, how it can be ethically done, how I don't believe in it, nor am I comfortable with it, nor do I use it in my own real estate practice. So overall, there was this, what we wanted to do, what Frank and I talked about before we aired this show last week, was we wanted to get people engaged, and we wanted to answer questions about dual agency. I know people outside of the real estate sphere who have had bad buyer agency experiences. I personally didn't have the very best of buyer agency experiences as a consumer. As a realtor, I have only done one, and luckily, very luckily for me, as a matter of fact, uniquely luckily for me, the deal was two fabulous clients on both sides who actually met and actually did quite a bit of the negotiations themselves and tied everything up in a nice knot. And it was a pleasure to work with both of them. But I recognized during that transaction that dual agency, number one, I was like, how can this possibly be in the best interest of any clients, especially in a contentious negotiation? Number two, I wasn't personally comfortable with it. I cannot give my very, very best to both sides of a transaction. I don't know how any realtor possibly can. And at that time, after that conclusion of that, I was absolutely certain that while this was a very fluid transaction, and again, two clients that have become very, very good friends of mine, All that aside, I was not going to ever do dual agency again. Dual agency, again, is the ability for a realtor, typically it ends up being the listing realtor of a house, to end up representing not only the seller of the house, but also the buyer of the house. Typically how it happens is the realtor is listing the home and a buyer calls the realtor's number, which is on the rider sign out front of the home. The realtor makes an opportunity for the buyer to come and see the house. Basically, the realtor shows the buyer the house. The buyer falls in love with the house and they want to make an offer. By Pennsylvania law, it's perfectly fine for that realtor to also act as the buyer's agent, take the offer, and negotiate it between the two parties. We talked last week in great detail why that is not in the best interest of the consumer, in my opinion. Frank, my adopted co-host and a consumer, not a realtor, had a very blunt, description of that particular scenario. And it went something like this. You'd have to be insane as a consumer to hire the same agent as the seller of a house you're trying to buy.
That's a pretty good synopsis.
That's kind of how you put it, right?
That's
we
right
we used a lot of synopsis where we're comparing attorneys. You know, if you're being sued, would you hire the person suing you? Would you hire their attorney to be your attorney as well? Absolutely not. Attorneys can't represent both sides like that effectively, and in my opinion, they can't do it ethically. It's ridiculous. Who would do that? Same thing with real estate. You deserve, as a consumer, as a buyer of real estate, you deserve your own agent. Just as that lister, that home seller deserves to have their agent's full attention, full dedication, and have that fiduciary relationship with their agent. The two should not mix. It's interesting. I went on a listing appointment this morning, Frank. I listed a home in Coriopolis, and I was talking with the owner, and they started to talk to me about where they needed to be on the house. You know, they were talking about some of the bills they were trying to pay. They were going to be moving and some other things related to the transaction. And I sat there like this, very attentive, and I wanted to hear everything. And, you know, I want to know so much about my client as much as they are willing to talk to me about. And I sat there, and it was so interesting because this is what happened, Frank. This is actually what this very kind lady said to me. She said, Eric, she goes, I just need your complete trust. You know, that, you know, when I talk with you, you know, I said, ma'am, this is a fiduciary relationship. You have my word that it will stay here. Our information will stay here. And that whole privacy component is where we're going to head today here shortly. So keep that off to the side for a second. But she was telling me where she needs to be with the property and why, what her absolute lowest price is. Okay. And I sat there, Frank, and I said, you know, this is so interesting. So interesting. If I was an agent who practiced dual agency as an option, I have to go into my listing appointments and tell the home seller, once we start in the conversations, please, let's be careful about what you tell me, because I don't want to know what your bottom is, and I really don't know what you're thinking about getting for the house. You know, I don't want to know these because if a buyer does come and I decide, with your permission, of course, to represent the buyer as well, it could get a little awkward if I knew what your bottom was. I mean, to me, that is unfathomable. I sat there, and as I left the appointment today, I got in the car, I just had a big smile on my face. Like, how can I do that? Like, why would I want to do that? Why would I want any distance in the relationship between my seller and myself? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like I have to tell them not to tell me, you know, like
right.
to parse words almost. And how can that be the foundation of a great, you know, seller realtor relationship? It just can't. So, again, friends, we spent a good time. We're not going to talk all this week about that. What I do want to bridge the buyer agency storyline and my thoughts on buyer agency, my uncomfortableness with it, and my decision not to use buyer agency in my practice. I did get a very interesting email from a potential customer. We've already talked about listing her house. She's wonderful. Lynn, I'm going to bring up your email right now. She said, Eric, what if I hire you to list my house and you're my realtor and a buyer does come and wants to see the house? Will you show them the house? And my answer is yes, I will absolutely show them the house. Based on their level of interest, right away, if I get the feeling they're going to be interested, I immediately, once we get in there and in the comfort levels there, I bridge the conversation. I let them know. I said, listen, this seems like a house that you may like. I said, if indeed you don't want to, you want to put an offer in, I'm going to, with your permission, do one of two things. I'm going to let you know that I do not do dual agency. You have the right to choose any other realtor you want to submit this offer, or if you need me to refer someone, I'll refer you to one of many, many great agents that'll serve you very well. So that's my answer. Yes, I will show the house, but again, I am very careful about not entering into dual agency and letting the buyer know right away I don't. We have a call? Okay. You're on with Eric McKenna.
Yeah, first of all, Eric, we can hardly hear you on the radio. Got the volume up all the way and can hardly hear you.
Well, I appreciate you letting me know, my friend. I wasn't aware of that, but I will pass that off to Frank right now. We'll see if we can get that corrected.
Thank you.
Very strange, huh?
Yeah, it's your full blast.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I appreciate you calling in and letting me know. Thank you so much. So, Lynn, to answer your question again, I may refer that buyer to an agent potentially in my own brokerage. And that's completely fine and ethical. I would prefer that buyer to pick an agent that I have a high level of respect for. I know that agent's going to do very well for that buyer, and I also know it's going to be wonderful as well.
Try mic 3.
It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful as well to indeed have a party that we're negotiating with that has excellent representation. So bear with me, folks, as I change microphones on here. Okay.
That's a lot better, Eric. There's something wrong with
it. It just has a lot of bass to it. It's always a mid-rangey bass microphone. Yeah.
It's a lot better sounding than
as
the
long
mic,
as long as people can hear me, that's all that matters.
I think there's an issue with that other one.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, little technical difficulty once again, but we are back on track, and hopefully our friend who called in to let me know that we could not be heard, hopefully you can hear me now, and thank you for bringing that to my attention. Greatly appreciate that. So, to answer Lynn's question again, yes, I would show the house. I would just refer that buyer out to a wonderful agent, or that buyer has the right to pick any agent they want as well. But I would not represent them. So no, as your listing agent, as your listing realtor, I will not be bringing buyers. I will definitely show the house to buyers, but I will not be representing buyers in any transaction. And I only see positives from that as well. Frank, would you not agree?
I agree 100%.
Yes, you do, buddy. Yes, you do.
100%.
So what am I up on time here, friend? I know you have all my, all my splits and what time I got to do what. Hey, James Snyder, my good friend. Thanks for checking in on Facebook Live. Always good to have you on the show.
Go now if you want.
Okay, we are going to come back. And here's what we're going to do on the next segment and then moving into the next hour, friends. We are going to talk about what I feel are necessary commitments that a realtor should make to a potential buyer client and a seller client. And we're going to go through them step by step, and I welcome your calls and any questions at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. This is Eric McKenna, your personal realtor here on Beaver County Radio, and we will, I promise, be right back.
Something must be.
WPPP, WMBA.
And we're back, friends. This is Eric McKenna, and you're listening to your personal realtor here on Beaver County Radio. We're trying my main mic again, but I'm being gestured in a way here that my mic is dead.
You get a better sound out of the other mic for some reason. I don't know why, but we'll check it out.
Okay. Well, this is so much
Check it out.
deeper, and there's no treble.
Trouble
There's
or
no
trouble?
treble to my voice. I'm like in mid-range, you know what here, HELL. I mean,
It sounds the same to me. So.
it's so mid-rangey. There's no bite. There's no crispness. There's nothing. It's just like blah. And this is why it's funny, friends. I've had two. When I come into the studio here, the side that I'm on provides me, you know, there's two big boom mics over here, and I can use the one I want. And I realized about 3 or 4 shows into this science experiment that the microphone on on the right is nice and crisp and good. The microphone on the left, which I'm using now, sounds terrible. So what I would do when I had a guest in, I would push this microphone to Frank and Frank's microphone to my guest, and I'd have the other one. So, but not afforded that luxury today. We're going to do the best. We're going to make the best of it. That's what we do here. We adapt. This is local radio, and you're listening to Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. I'm a realtor with Remax Advanced Realtors out of Swickley and Robinson Township. Service Allegheny, Butler, Washington, and the wonderful county of Beaver. And so many of you who have listened to this show have reached out to me and enabled me to have an opportunity to meet you. And many of you have become clients and a part of my life and friends. And thank you so much. It's been very, very rewarding. People think I do it to come down here for all the donuts and all the fun stuff that I'm supposed to be getting at the station. But I can assure you, friends, number one, not only does that not happen, but number two, I'm really here to talk real estate and broaden my practice and meet as many people here in Beaver County as possible. And it is working. So special thanks to everybody involved with Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. This show is sponsored, of course, by my website at calleric.com and ericmckenna.com. All pointing at the same place. Love you to come visit me there, get some information on my thoughts and my viewpoints on real estate and how I conduct my practice. Very much interested in talking with you and being your personal realtor. Want to give you one more number, and that's my personal phone number, which is my cell, and you can call or text me there anytime. It's 412-613-4466. Again, if you would like to talk to me about being your personal realtor, no commitments, no obligation, and if you just want information, I'd be glad to talk with you. Again, it's Eric McKenna, your personal realtor, 412-613-4466. Call or text me anytime. I'll do my darndest to get back to you. And, of course, the email address for this show and anytime is sold at calleric.com. As we mentioned before the break, we talked last week about dual agency and why we don't do it at my practice. And this week I want to bridge that a little bit, and I want to move right into what I feel are very important tenets. That's TENANTS. That a realtor should be willing to offer to their clients. These are things that a realtor should convey in their very first sit down with a client. They're a little bit different. One is for listing clients, and one is for buyer clients. These are kind of my mantras. These are things that, you know, I've written out and I've formulated over time, and they have not been in written form. These aren't handouts that I've given my clients. I've been able to extrapolate and have this in conversation with my customers and clients. But at this point, I'm in the process of developing some, not promotional material, but more presentation material, very simple things. Because I like things simple, Frank. I don't like to walk into a client and hand them a bunch of things. And one of the things I always like to do when I meet my client for the first time is come empty-handed. I mean, literally. I have a pen hidden in my blazer typically. If it's very hot out and I don't have a blazer on, I won't have a pen. But I like to come empty-handed and very disarming. I just want to come to have a conversation. And if you've decided on me as your realtor and we've already talked and you've made a decision and I've humbly accepted to be your realtor, I will generally show up at that first appointment with a couple pieces of paper. And all they are, quite frankly, are my written commitments to you, my client, which certainly we can talk about. But I wanted to leave those with you when I leave. I want you to take those. I want you to look at them. And remember, these are the things that I commit to you as your realtor. And we're going to start today quite frankly, on the listing side. I was going to the buyer side first because we were talking about buyer agency, dual agency, and talking about how generally it's the buyer who initiates the dual agency because they come to the listing agent. But we're going to talk about the things that I feel, and again, these are tenets that I think that any realtor would be willing to commit to their client. Things that they could expect no less from. Especially what's important. Some of this stuff will appear very obvious, but just hear me out. So let me vet through this. And if you have any questions about what we're discussing at all, feel free to call me at any point in time during this presentation. It's 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. And that goes for you too, Sir Frank. Anything in here? And I know you're going to hear some of this and say, oh, that's just so obvious. Why does Eric even have to put that down on paper? Well, I think when you look at it collectively, it puts out a good statement. It really does. And it's a real simple document, but I really believe wholeheartedly, and it took me a good couple of weeks to put this together. I thought about every word and every sentence and everything in a very concise, honest, and genuine way. So here we go. As your listing realtor, this is what you can expect from me. The first tenet is privacy. Okay, privacy. As my client, you can expect our business together to remain confidential between us. I will always seek your permission if I need to discuss our business with any third party. Now, Frank, do you think oftentimes people, number one, take that seriously, or do you think there's even a need for that, to tell people that?
I think in this day and age, unfortunately, there is a need for that.
I think so too. And the reason why I want to state this to my clients is that, this is the age of digital media. This is the age of social media, and all of us are in communication at a heightened level, it seems, with everybody all the time. I'm just as guilty. I mean, I'm interconnected with my clients and my family, and I'm running a baseball team this week in a tournament down here, by the way, in Rochester. And, I've got all this circle of people constantly in contact with me. So what I want my listing clients to know that, hey, we're going to sit down and talk about your home, things that are important to you. You may share with me why you feel your house is worth a certain amount of money, why you need a certain amount of money for your house. You're going to talk about the things you did to your home, the money you have invested in there, your opinions of the neighborhood. You're going to confide in me. You have my commitment as your listing realtor that you have the privacy. Again, as my client, you can expect our business together to remain confidential between us. I will always seek your permission if I need to discuss our business with a third party. I think that's very important. And I think that the privacy, and that's the reason why I put it first, quite frankly, when talking to any potential home seller. The privacy issue is very important to me, and I think it's one that we often take for granted, especially in light of this hyper communication that we live in. Hypersensitive communication, I would say. The second tenet is honesty, which, of course, right? Of course you're going to be honest. All right. So the way I word it's maybe a little different. I will conduct all business with you honestly. I will provide my honest assessment of your home's current market value and any needed recommendations for upgrades, staging, or showing that will enable us to sell your home at maximum dollar. Now, that leads us into a slightly different discussion, which we're going to have right now. Before I get into it, I want to say hello to Sean Foster on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us, Sean. Old friend of mine, good guy. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. In that statement I was referring to honesty, I was talking about I will provide my honest assessment of your home's current market value and any needed recommendations for upgrades, staging, or showing that will enable us to sell your home at maximum market dollar. My goal as your listing representative, your listing agent, your listing realtor is to help you sell your house at market value or better. That's the goal. What you ultimately list your house for is up to you. I work for you. Now, I don't have to work for you if we have a significant difference in opinion. That, and again, knock on wood, that's never happened. I've never walked away from a client outside of one particular issue that, not even worth discussing, but it was more a personal issue between this person and myself. But just on the fundamentals of real estate or differences of opinion, I've never lost a client. But again, I work for you, and if I come to you and we talk, we should look at comparables, and I listen very attentively on your opinion on why you feel your house is worth this amount of money or this range. I present my opinions as well, and hopefully we're right in the ballpark. And generally, 90%, I would say, I'd be comfortable saying that 90% of the time, when I go to speak to a home seller, my comparables and their opinion are right in the range that we can find a really good listing number. We can. There are times where I've actually had a higher opinion of the house financially based upon comps and neighborhoods and just my experience than the actual home seller had. But the other times that we don't really see eye to eye, generally the home seller has a higher opinion of their home, and that's okay. And that's okay. A lot of factors go into that. I mean, Frank and I had a conversation before, when you have a house, you end up loving it to death, and you end up doing a lot of personal and unique things there. You may put a lot of money in your home, and that's okay. If you plan on staying there for a good period of time, there's nothing wrong with that. Oftentimes when people are forced into selling their homes, however, they try to get that money back, or their opinion of the house because of what I saw, my good buddy Fred's house down the block sold for this amount of money, and my house, just has to be worth more than that. Now, what he's not saying is his buddy Fred has a 2-car garage and he has one. His Fred has a finished basement, he doesn't, and there's different variables that kind of bring the facts into alignment. But oftentimes people do have a higher opinion of their house than what the market will bear. And my job is to provide comps and do my very best to bring all of us together in the conversation. Now, there's also listings that I get occasionally where great house, comps are right there. We list right where we think we both need to be, and it's taking a little longer to sell than we have to. It's because, again, in real estate, nothing is worth anything outside of what the market will bear at that moment in time. And you have to take and consider timing and a lot of other factors. So sometimes you can be right on the money with comps and at the same time taking a little longer to sell. And every situation is unique. So my honesty is when I come to you and I say, hey, this is how I look at it. This is how I view your home in the current marketplace based upon all the good things you've done to it and how well you've taken care of it. And we come to a number. We'll work together to make that happen. If we have to adjust pricing, it's always kind of the last option we look at, of course. But if we have to do it together to get to your goal, and your goal is to sell your house. So you'll always have my honesty. So again, privacy, number one, right off the bat, I will always keep our business together confidential between us. And I will always seek your permission if I ever need to discuss our business to any third party. And that happens, not often, but on occasion, whether it's a lender possibly calling me, or it could be something to do with a contractor you've hired to make a couple renovations before we list. And they might ask me some information that I wouldn't feel comfortable telling them unless I got okay from the seller. And of course, the honesty part is you have my honesty of what I feel the house is worth on the market, but you also have my honesty to tell you how we can do some things potentially to earn that listing price. Very, very important. Well, before we continue on to the other tenets of what I present to my potential home sellers and my dedication to committing to these tenets to them, we're up against another hard break here, and we've already burned through our first hour here on Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. It's hard to believe. But, Frank, what do you do when you're having fun, right?
You keep doing it.
We keep doing it week in, week after out. Okay, friends. With that, you are listening to Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. I'm a realtor with RE/MAX Advanced Realty out of Swickley and Robinson Township. We're here every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP in Chippewa and Beaver Falls, and 1460 WMBA in, drumroll Frank, Ambridge and Coriopolis.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good twist. We thank everybody here for enduring our technical difficulties the first hour, but I promise you we'll be back with a smoother delivery as we get into more of my commitments to my sellers. You're listening to Your Personal Realtor, and now it is time for...
You got a good 30 seconds.
Town Hall. Well, do you see what this guy does to me?
Good 30 seconds. Keep talking. You're good at it. Keep talking.
See, friends, it's all about the timing, you see, and I'm getting good at this, but I still don't have a clock that ticks down with seconds though. Not with I need a second clock.
Oh, okay.
All right, friends, stay tuned for Town Hall News, and we're going to be right back after the top of the hour.
Beaver County stations for news, sports, information, and entertainment. 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
That's your drum roll. Da-da-da-da-da.
That fanfare stuff's got to go, man.
You're no fun.
Well, you know what? Now I can barely hear myself in the mix now. I mean, that's a little better.
That's as loud as it gets.
All right, friends. We are back. Barely, but we are back at Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. I am your host, the ever humble Eric McKenna, Realtor with Remax Advanced Realtors out of Swickley and Robinson Township. I have the honor of being here every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Beaver County Radio in the luxurious Lachina Drapery and Blinds Factory Studio. I am joined every week by the incomparable Sir Frank Sparks, Mr. Beaver County Radio himself, and the man pressing all the buttons behind the big board. Kind of like in the movie Wizard of Oz, when they pull back the curtain, there's that little mad genius there doing all that stuff.
I am Oz.
Frank is Oz, yes. And again, special thanks to Mr. Mark Peterson, Station Grand Poobah, and co-creator of this show with Sir Frank Sparks and myself many, many moons ago. And great opportunity for us to be here with you on Wednesdays from 2 to 4. We've expanded to a 2-hour format. That's hard to believe. We started out at an hour, went to 90 minutes, and now, Frank, look at us. Are we going to just do the whole 3-hour afternoon teleform thing? Is that what's next?
No.
No, we wouldn't want to. We wouldn't want to subject. We definitely would not subject all of our listeners to 3 hours of real estate. I don't know if I could listen to 3 hours of real estate. So, we're in the honesty and fun here. We do a lot of things on this show, but we try to demystify real estate. That's what we do, and that's what we're going to try to continue to do here in hour 2. And then we'll finish up with some baseball right around the around the 3:45 mark. How's that sound there, Sir Frank? Sound good? All right. Before we continue, we're very, very lucky, especially in light of the clown show that Frank and I put on once in a while every year. We're very lucky to have sponsors on this show, and I want to let you know who they are. First and foremost, our good friends at Frags Tags. That's Frags Tags in downtown Coriopolis for all your title, transfer, and notary needs. Call today, 412-264-3018. 3018. That's right. Contact Jonathan or Michelle and tell her Your Personal Realtor, Eric McKenna, sent you. They'll take good care of you. We're also sponsored by lifestyle, family, and portrait photographer Don Morris. Let me try that tongue twist that, or untwist my tongue and try that again, Frank. Lifestyle, family, portrait photographer Don Morris. From infants to toddlers, preteens to graduation and beyond, let Dawn capture those special moments in your family's life. Please view Dawn's work at gypsysoulsphotography.com. Again, that's gypsysoulsphotography.com. It's amazing what she does in composition and color. I'm just in awe. Or call Dawn today and obviously, without question, book your appointment. 412-337-8348. Our show is also sponsored by Miss Leslie Raymond with Union Home Mortgage. Contact Leslie for all of your mortgage needs. Her number is 412-719-5673, NMLS 13827, and PA license number 29666. And last but never least, our good friend Matt Pia from Division 9 Home Inspections. Matt's one of the finest home inspectors in the Valley, a frequent guest on Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna, and just an all-around great guy, no matter what Frank says about him. Trust me, he's an all-around great guy. You can reach Matt directly at 412-715-8123 or visit Matt at his website, division, then the number 9, inspection.com. And, of course, this show is always sponsored by my website, which is calleric.com and also ericmckenna.com. Either one will lead you to the same place. Welcome you there to learn about my practice, my philosophies on real estate, and how I, Eric McKenna, can be your personal realtor. All right. So getting back to my commitments, the tenets that I give my listing clients when I go to meet them. We talked about privacy and honesty, as important as that is. And now we're going to move on to communication. And obviously, what's more important than communication in today's day and age? I will always be accessible to you via call or text at 412-613-4466, day or night. And also through my email at sold@calleric.com and, of course, my website, calleric.com. It will always be my goal to respond to your calls, texts, or emails in a very prompt fashion. I pride myself in doing so. So that's the third tenet I commit to my listing clients, and that's communication. And why I find it so important is it's difficult. And here's why I say that. It's difficult because we've got so many methods to communicate anymore. You know, when I first became a realtor, I realized right away that while I knew Facebook was big and I knew Facebook was a significant method of social media for people to connect with each other, I had not adopted Facebook Messenger as an actual platform that people really communicate with. I kind of thought it was like a little bit of a novelty, but if you really wanted to reach me, you'd text me on my phone number, call me on my phone number, or send me an email. I had to learn. How much Facebook Messenger is relied upon by so many people. Facebook Messenger became a very integral part of the communication I now have with my clients, so I had to add that. It's very important to me that if you contact me, that you receive a response appropriately fast, is how I like to say it. I'm proud when my clients, I think I spoil them sometimes because I get back so fast, but I spoil them in a good way. But I'm always very rewarded when they tell me, hey, Eric, it's, I guess I didn't hear from you for an hour and a half, and I thought maybe something was wrong. But then I realized, what normal person ever responds back in an hour and a half? You just really take good care of us. And I try to do that. I mean, there are times, certainly, if I'm on air here, or I visiting my father, I do that on a regular basis. He's we talked about it before. He's in a home for dementia. But if there's certain things in my life that I have to do, or if I'm in an appointment with a client, I like to turn my phone off because I absolutely, positively like to give my client my full attention. But it won't be long before I get back with you. So it's rarely ever an hour, that it takes me to get back.
I was going to say, I don't agree with you on one point of that.
Sure, go ahead.
Because while you're doing the show, we have taken commercial breaks so you could deal with something with.
Do you want to extrapolate that a little bit?
No, I don't. But I'm just going to say that you had to help a client out with something, and we did take a commercial break so you could hurry up and go take care of it.
I did. You're right. And I gleefully did that because I had a client who needed information right away, and I did exactly that. I reached out to them, and that's what I did. So, but that has to be the exception, or else I would never be able to get the show done. But in that instance, I thought it was the prudent thing to do, and I did that. But in general, I like to be able to respond back very quickly, and it's tough. And I'll tell you, friends, again, I don't know who I'm speaking to here. If you're probably in your 30s, all this communication's probably second hat to you because you pretty much grew up with it. Frank and I, being in our early 50s, we didn't grow up with this level of communication. My first cell phone was in the late 80s, and I worked for a cell phone company in the early 90s. Then I was working for a pager company. So maybe I have an affinity for responding back because I've always been tethered to something for most of my adult life. But the point is, in reality, how do I say this? If you're 50 and older, odds are likely the electronic communication came in the second half of your life. You can remember where, as a youngster, you'd leave the house and no one knew where you went. So, and I always think back now in my early years of sales, I always had a cell phone, although it was expensive. And then I had pagers, so I kind of always been tethered. But now all of us are tethered, not just business people, not just the affluent who can afford it, because it was very expensive back then. All of us are tethered. And I think at times it's a double-edged sword for me, because I try to respond as soon as I possibly can. I am not one who will text in the car anymore. I will tell you, before that became a huge mantra many years ago, I did. And I was pretty darn successful doing it. And it was a terrible thing I was doing. And once I had kids and I realized, you can't do this, you got to put the phone down. So I will get back to my clients, and I want that communication to be effective. And I also, sometimes I think in life, what I hear often from my clients based upon their prior relationships, whether it's their insurance agent or their realtor, it's this is what I hear. If they just would have said, hey, Bill, I got your message. I don't have time to really get the answer for you right now, but this is what I'm doing. If you can give me a little time, I'll get back to you. But yes, I did get the message. And that's why I send a lot of emails out, a lot of texts out saying, hey, understood. I got your message. I want my client to be confirmed that, hey, I hear you. I hear you. You have reached out to me effectively, and I acknowledge that I need to get back to you on this matter. And I think that's all anybody wants. Would you not agree, Frank? I mean, just to be acknowledged that they're not being ignored, right? Which is so simple. That's communication 101.
And that's where your Facebook and all that comes in handy, and text messaging, because if you are in the middle of a meeting or something, you can always text, say, hey, I'm busy, I'll get right back to you.
Absolutely. And I think that's courteous. And I think that you, as a consumer looking for a realtor, should expect nothing less. That's just common decency. So again, one of the tenets I absolutely commit to my listing agents is communication. And I think if you went by and you asked any of my clients, they will tell you I give plenty of communication, and I will always be there for them. And if I don't know the answer, darn it, they're going to know that their question was received. I understand it, and now I'm going to go figure it out for them. So, the fourth tenet that I like to believe that any home seller should require from their realtor is marketing. And how I explain marketing to my home sellers is the following. Along with the strength of RE/MAX industry-leading marketing, your home will be marketed on the MLS to all area realtors, as well as top-tier public websites, including RE/MAX.com, Zillow.com, Realtor.com, Trulia, and many, many others. In addition, with your permission, I will create, publish, and pay for advertisements marketing your home on Facebook and Instagram. I will provide any and all for-sale signs at my cost, and with your permission, I may choose to mention your home on my real estate radio talk show, Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna, aired every Saturday morning, which, again, you can see how dated this is, every Wednesday afternoon from 2 to 4 on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. So what do you think of that, Frank? Just listening to it. Is it pretty encompassing?
I think so.
Yeah, it's pretty encompassing. And again, obviously, all good realtors are going to do that first part without a doubt. They're going to say, hey, we're going to immediately use the strength of our broker, whether it's Caldwell, Howard, Hanna, Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, RE/MAX. We're going to use the strength of our website and our brokerage and our company behind our brokerage to market your home online, and of course, all getting it on the multi-list here, the MLS, so it proliferates all over the web. That's number one. All realtors should give that to you right away. And on another show, we're going to talk about how signing into an exclusive, something called a listing exclusive with certain brokers, how that doesn't serve you well. It only serves the broker. And while that word exclusive, conjures up ideas of like prestige and so forth, it doesn't help you. And we're going to talk about that on another show. But the idea is to get your house listed effectively right away and get it out there on the web right away through the MLS and through all these wonderful websites. Now, let's talk about the second part of my mantra here. In addition, with your permission, I will create, publish, and pay for advertisements marketing your home on Facebook and Instagram. Listen, friends, it's not a magic trick. Facebook and Instagram is not the key to the kingdom. It's not a guarantee that that's going to be what sells your home, but it is an effective opportunity to do more. A very effective opportunity for your realtor to do more to sell your home, make it available to more people to see, so more quote unquote eyeballs are viewing your property. And in this day and age, it's imperative. Now, what's the difference between, hey, my realtor put my home up on the, and it got shared, and a couple people shared it, and they posted it on their wall, and I think they have a business page, and they might have posted it on their wall there too. That's great. That's fabulous. You actually have a realtor who's engaged in social media, and they're using it to help you, the home seller. It's wonderful. You can help them by sharing it yourself. Let's face it, probably 90% of all of us, regardless of our age, are on Facebook or Instagram or some kind of social media. So it's always great to share. Here is where I take it a step further. Without getting into all the demographics and the science and the analytics and all that good stuff, I will create ads that are specific to, number one, our listing. And then I will go into the back end of Facebook and I will tailor what the science tells me are the most opportune people to want to see this particular ad. Then I will buy advertisements for our little ad there, which will show off your homes and hopefully target the right people. It's been phenomenal. It has helped me sell homes more than any other medium that I've had so far. People see things on Facebook, and I can tell how many clicks and pass-throughs and phone calls that I get from these ads, and it's absolutely awesome. It's not magic. It's not rocket science. It's just something that I believe in, something that I dived into, something that I took the time to learn, trial and error, willing to pay the money. I gladly pay for these advertisements. They do not come out of my home seller's pocket, but it's another addition to the entire marketing that we do for you, our home seller. Again, that's paid advertisements paid for by me, Eric McKenna, your personal realtor, on Facebook and Instagram, in addition to all the other marketing that we do to help sell your home. Break again? Is that right? Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
friends.
22 after already.
Yeah, we're going to come back with the other tenants that I have. We'll try to get through this a little quicker. The things that I commit to doing for my home sellers and what they can expect no less from me, your personal realtor, Eric McKenna. And we'll be right back. Okay, friends, and we are back. Once again, you listen to Your Personal Realtor with Eric McKenna. I can't hear myself again. Can you crank at it?
That's it.
That's it. That'll work.
That's it, Fort Pitt.
That's it. I'm back in black here. Back in business. All right, friends. We're going through the tenets that I commit to, the items that I commit to, the philosophy that I commit to when I go to talk to a home seller, things they can expect from me. And we just talked about advertising, and the part I want to reiterate again is the Facebook ads. I really believe in them. I advertise the home immediately when we list. And then if we do an open house, I run a separate ad as well, which Frank didn't know about that. That kind of raised his eyebrows. But I pay for it. Yeah, we do a separate ad, and it works. It gets bodies, lack of a better way, but it gets people, bodies, eyeballs, people interested in the house and getting them to the open house. So it's really important stuff. Very important stuff. And of course, we've talked about individual listings on this show. We've talked about my open houses on this show. I had 2 people show up to an open house I had in Hookstown because they heard about it. 2 different buyers on this show. So it's very, very rewarding. The next tenet that I talk about is photographs and video. That's right, photographs and video. And how I commit to my client is, I say, I will take accurate and honest photos that represent your home beautifully. In addition, I will film, edit, and produce a short, roughly 4-minute walkthrough video of your home. With your permission, I will publish and promote this video on social media sites, including Facebook and Instagram. Now, Frank and I have a running joke here because when I first started this show, Frank he made the comment, he goes, Eric, what is up with you realtors and photographing houses? Because when I go out to look at a house, and I went out a couple of weeks ago with my friend and his wife, The photographs that are on the MLS and Zillow, they don't look anything like the house. So immediately I gave Frank a complete list of all the houses that I currently had listed at the time. And I said, hey, I want you to examine these photographs. And Frank said, I don't even have to go out to the photograph to go look at the house because these are great photographs. They're truthful. And you use that word truthful, and it really resonated with me because I know that my photographs and my video work are honest and they represent the home. But when a third party tells you, hey, your photographs are truthful, you're not exaggerating, you're not you're not making something appear something it's not, that was very rewarding as well.
And you know what? I like the drone.
Yeah,
when you do the drones.
That's right.
And
and the photographs, the part of the photograph that we have on certain properties. Now, again, we only do it on certain properties because we need some breadth and some scope of the lot. If the lot's big enough, or if it's it's also a lot that's got acreage, we will actually get the drone out there. And Mr. Matt Pia, my home inspector, also does drone photography and video. So I will incorporate drone photography and video into not only the still pictures, but also the walkthrough video that I do with my properties.
Now, does that cost me extra, sir?
No, I pay for that.
Wow.
I pay for that. Yep.
Look at you.
Yep, I do that. I do that for my clients. Hey,
Cool.
hey, look, working with the seller is something I love. It's participatory. Mm-hmm. And I ask certain things from them too. And next week, the whole show next week is that we're probably going to get to the buyers, my commitments to buyers next week. But there are a couple of universal things that buyers and seller clients, I ask from them. It's totally participatory. And because they're willing to meet me halfway and they're willing to work with me, I have no problem spending my own money and spending my marketing money to help them. This is a real effort here. But you're right, the drone photography, the video on certain properties, the walkthrough video is awesome, okay? There are some houses, quite frankly, depending on where they're located and quite frankly, if we have a lot of young families who are busting out of their first house. You follow what I mean, Frank? So,
yeah.
So they're doing the very best they can to show the house in light of having a full house. So sometimes those houses, based upon they've got 5 bedrooms worth of furniture trapped in 3 bedrooms. You see what I mean? So sometimes doing the walkthrough video, it's not going to help. The walkthrough video can help if there's space to move around. And the couple may be in the process of moving at the time, so there's more cavernous rooms. So if the video is going to be of help to them, I will do that video. Of course, I will edit it, put music behind it. We'll proliferate it on YouTube and Facebook and Vimeo and Instagram and Twitter. We'll do it all. We do it all. But the idea, again, is a full-blown marketing force with Eric McKenna as your realtor, and I spearhead the whole thing myself. I spearheaded the whole thing, and I have very tight creative control over everything because I really believe in what I do, and I'm making a commitment to my home seller that, hey, I'm going to do these things, so I want them done correctly. I have the same problem Frank has. We're both kind of control freaks to a degree, and we can delegate, and we have some great people we delegate to, but in the end, we kind of check on everything all the time because we want to make sure things are right. So the next tenet is I want to talk about open houses, and it's pretty simple. I said, if we agree to hold an open house, and notice I said, if we agree, because I understand that some home sellers just don't want open houses. We can disagree on the merits of them, but if it's something you don't want to do, I'm okay with that. So again, if we agree to open an open house, I will pay for all refreshments, promotional paperwork, and signs. Of course I will. I will also offer to conduct a 4 to 5 hour open house instead of the traditional 2 hours. Another thing that Frank, when I first got here, Frank's eyebrows raised one day when we began to speak because I told Frank, hey, I have an open house I'm going to on Sunday. And again, I was here on a Saturday doing my show. And I said, tomorrow I have an open house. Frank, you got to stop out and see me if you and the wife are out. And Frank said, well, how long are you going to be there? Like 2 to 4 or something? I said, no, I'm there 11 to 4. And Frank looked at me and goes, 11 to 4? And I said, yeah. I said, tend to do them 12 to 4 or 11 to 4. And Frank gave me this look like, are you crazy? But no, I believe, in all honesty, if it works for my seller, again, if that time schedule works, I'd rather do the open house for the whole time because, listen, people are out seeing homes. They're out seeing homes. So why limit the opportunity for them to get out there? What if they can't make a window of 11 to 1 or 12 to 2 or 1 to 3 or 2 to 4. 2 hours is just not enough. We want to put a full, as Ted Nugent would say, a full bluntal marketing campaign here, right? We want to get out there and show everybody that we're open. So I'm willing to do that. I am willing to do that. Now, 90% of mine are staged by me. If I happen to have too many listings at one particular time, too many is a terrible way to phrase that. If I have the opportunity and I'm blessed enough to have multiple listings needing open on the same day, especially if it happens in the summer and the fall a lot, I will enlist other wonderful agents who are looking to man them. I will pay them all my costs. We'll go through the house. They'll do a marvelous job. I wouldn't put anybody in a house that I don't trust implicitly. I wouldn't put my own house. But I'm a big believer in open houses for the right circumstances. Next is negotiations. I commit to my home sellers. I will represent you with your interest at the forefront at all times. I will not act as a dual agent. We've been through this. If through my marketing of your home, I locate a buyer who wishes to submit an offer on your home, I will have said buyer work exclusively with another agent, possibly a RE/MAX agent from my brokerage, whom I trust implicitly. I will not represent another party in our transaction other than you. I can't be any more simple. The bottom line is, when you take me on as your realtor, I am your realtor and nobody else's. And that bridges exactly what we've been talking about for, the past 2 weeks now. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to move on to compensation because this is always the big one, right? Everybody wants to know, how do you handle compensation, Eric? I'm going to be very clear about this. I commit to my home sellers. I will only earn a commission for the sale of your home from my broker, RE/MAX Advanced Realtors. I will be paid from the portion of the commission that RE/MAX Advanced Realtors receives at your closing. This will be my only commission. I will not charge your commission percentage on your net sale. You will not pay commission on seller assist, meaning if part of the deal that we negotiate for a buyer and a seller is that the seller pays some of the closing costs, I will not make my sellers ever pay commission on money they never received because they gave some of that to seller assist. We in the same page with that?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, though.
Sure.
Go back a page there.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, so you were talking about compensation.
Yes.
And what you get. Is that common practice with realtors that maybe the brokerage, I don't know what the percentages are, but just say the percentage of the sales, 2% is the broker, is the realtors,
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly how it works. Okay, so so I go to list the house, and generally it's 6%.
Okay.
Sometimes if the house is bigger, it's a little less money.
Okay. Sometimes
if the house is smaller, it can be 6.25%, 6.5%. Generally not with me. I'm a 6% guy. And so what that means is we are going to offer up half of the commission to the other side. So RE/MAX will be entitled to 3% of the sale of the house, the net sale price, meaning that we would never charge on any money on seller assist they gave away to the buyer. And the buyer's broker would get the 3%. So that's 3% of it's a $100,000 house, and it was exactly $100,000. RE/MAX would get $3,000, and then they would pay me a portion of that money in my contract with them, which is private.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Okay.
The thing I want to stress is that's the only compensation I receive.
Right.
The other seller assist part's a little more involved, but just know that if you, the Mr. Home Seller, are involved in a deal and part of that deal, the buyer needs you to help pay their closing costs, whatever money you give to the buyer, I will never charge you commission on.
Okay, my question
and
is...
And that's rare in this business. That's rare. I choose never to do that.
Okay, so that was my question was, are there realtors out there...
that charge seller assist?
That charge that and above and beyond, say, as you said, the 6% or the 3%. Are there realtors that will actually tack on a couple percent for themselves to put...
No, they are not permitted by Pennsylvania law.
That was my question.
As a matter of fact, we are not permitted to be paid as realtors directly by the client ever.
Okay.
We may only be paid on a real estate transaction from our broker.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And to carry that conversation a step further, let me continue.
Right.
The only other charge related to you, Mr. Seller, at closing is a RE/MAX transaction fee, which is known as our broker's fee. It's $295, which happens to be the lowest in the industry. Every broker has them. They range from $250 all the way up to $750. It depends on what company. Ours is $295. It's the cost of doing business. It's an administration fee that the RE/MAX collects. I don't collect that. That's just but that is a cost to my seller, and I let them know that up front. So It's 6% of the sale, the net sale, and then they'll also see a line item at closing at $295.
Okay.
And like I said, every broker is different.
Right.
So I'm not going to tell you who charges what. I know, but you would be surprised. RE/MAX is pretty darn fair. Very fair, I would add. And again, you will see this $295 administration charge at closing. In bold print, there are no hidden fees, commissions, or charges. Furthermore, I do not in any way receive any financial income from any real estate related vendor, including mortgage companies, home inspectors, or contractors. I'm not going to get paid in any capacity, not a referral fee, not a referral consideration, nothing. My total compensation comes from RE/MAX Advanced Realtors after closing from the money that was charged the Mr. Home Seller to sell your property.
So basically, you're saying that if I would enlist, say, somebody like Frags Tags to do my title work or whatever, then you do not receive a kickback at any time for being the person that's referred me to them.
Never taken a kickback, would never. It's completely against the law.
Right.
And I'm hoping that that's the case with everybody. I want to believe, like I said, I'm a very optimistic person. I believe that everybody is running around doing the right thing. I've been fooled, but let's face it, I believe that generally everybody's doing the right thing.
Right.
And all of my vendors know, like Matt Pia, Matt and I, he's very, it's cleaner this way. This is how it should be. Nobody should be getting paid on the side or side deals or anything. So anytime I refer somebody, it's such a wonderful feeling. It's a clean referral. I give the referral, I tell them how wonderful we are, and I walk away and I let the buyer make their own decision. They're never going to get any undue pressure from me. That goes for contractors. That goes for recommending what I consider to be one of the finest closing companies there are. PA Land Title out of Robinson Township. Phenomenal people. I love working with them because guess what? Not only are they friendly to everybody, they're attentive and they get things done, and their fees are so reasonable to the buyer. It's a perfect scenario.
Right.
But I refer as much business as I can there, but ultimately it's the buyer's decision. And I have no vested interest whatsoever. I just want my buyer happy and I want them taken care of. And that's why my referrals are so strong. But there's no compensation of any capacity coming this direction based upon any referral that I do. And it's funny, yes, this is real estate law. I'm not saying, I don't want a pat on the back for this. But I'm reiterating because the average person out there doesn't really understand often how we're paid.
Well, they think that too, that you're referring somebody, like the fact that Matt does a lot of work for you because he does a nice job and you build a rapport with him over that. They probably think right off the bat, hey, you know what? Him and Matt are in this together. He's getting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's good that you disclose that right off the bat.
Absolutely. Not a sentence. As a matter of fact, it's funny. This is how incredibly honest to a fault Matt P is. And I love the guy. When Matt and I go out to lunch, we would go down the Brighton hot dog shop here. We purposely always, no matter where we eat, we both pay our own bills completely.
Right.
I mean, even if he didn't have the money, he would starve because he wouldn't take money from me to buy lunch. I wouldn't either. We want to be seen paying for our own bills. He is so by the books, so right, so honest, and I love that. But that's what I'm saying to you is, I'm sure it would be okay if he bought me a hamburger. Or if I bought him a hamburger as friends. But we both feel the same way that everything in the eyes of the consumer needs to be right, dressed right all the time. All the time.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, also, if somebody does not want to use, say, Matt to do something, does RE/MAX not have a website that's kind of like has a tool on it or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, that helps you out?
Absolutely. We as RE/MAX, our local office, we have it's called a preferred vendors list. But here's what's great. It's not preferred in any kind of financial way. These are people that have done great work, and that's how we leave it at that. We let the buyer make their own decisions, but oftentimes I want the buyer to lean on me for closing companies and home inspection companies and anything else they need, because I'd rather send them to someone that's going to get it done in time for us to close.
Plus keep more money in their pocket.
But again, the buyer always has the final say. We are just there as an information source. So, friends, we're up against our final break of the day. This has been a fantastic show. I mean, this is actually one of the greatest shows I've had on air. Frank's been tremendous. We've gotten through some really important information. I've had the ability to share with you the tenants that I offer my home listers, things they can expect from me and demand from me as their realtor. And I think this should be the same tenets any realtor should offer their clients. And that's right now we're up against, we got to go. Frank, we got to go.
Yes, we do.
I'm sorry I'm late. We'll be right back, friends.
3584.
For J.D. Power and Associates award information, visit jdpower.com.
Your place to buy, sell, trade, or give it away. It's the Yankee Trader, weekday afternoons from 1 until 2 on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Beaver County and our Facebook Live friends. Thank you so much for including us in your afternoon. This is your personal realtor, Eric McKenna, with Remax Advanced Realtors, and I'm here every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Beaver County Radio. Man, that flows so good, Frank. I think the Grand Poobah might have to pay me to say that for a commercial. What do you think? That's good, man. That's good. I'm bringing my old retro 70s voice back to radio.
Retro 70s. Wow.
It's been a great show. Friends, I've got now 6 emails throughout the show here, and we're not even going to get to any of them, but I will make it my point to respond back to each of you. Phil, that's a long email, pal. He wrote me a book. I will get to it, and I will do this. I'm going to play a little baseball with my kid today. Nothing wrong with that, Frank. And I will get to your email, Phil, and all of your emails and respond back in kind. But thank you. And if any of that material is good, we'll put it on the air next week, but you'll get your answer. Thank you. It's been a great show, friends. We wrapped up our discussion on dual agency that really propagated last week and brought a lot of comments in, all of them positive against, I will say this, all positive comments against my mantra of not doing dual agency. I haven't had anybody call in and say, oh, I did dual agency and I thought it was fabulous, and I think the agent did a great job, and I feel that I was accurately represented, and I feel that I got the very most from my home.
I think
no one said that. No one said that.
No, and I think if they did, I'd ask them for their address so I could go smack them on the head.
Yeah, no one said that, but it's been a great show. Now, we did get through, I like to say, a short listing presentation that I give to those I talk to about listing their home. And it's just basically some bullet points of things that I commit to as your listing realtor, things you can expect from me. And the things that I commit to, they're tenets of the relationship, I like to say. And I'm just going to read them. I'm not going to read the detail. I'm going to go through them one more time before we get off the air here. It's privacy, honesty, communication, marketing, of course, photographs and video, open houses, negotiations, and, of course, compensation. This information is up on my website at calleric.com. Feel free to go there and find out why I should be your personal realtor when you are ready to list your house. And, of course, I can be. You can contact me at 412-613-4466. Call or text. Send me an email at sold@calleric.com. Again, it's 412-613-4466. This is your personal realtor, Eric McKenna. Love to be working with you in the great county of Beaver. Add you to my collection of friends and clients. And, of course, I want to mention quickly our sponsors, Frags Tags in downtown Coraopolis for your title transfer and notary needs. It's 412-264-3018. Lifestyle, family, and portrait photographer Dawn Morris. Let Dawn capture the special moments in your family's life. Call her for a booking today, 412-337-8348, or visit Dawn at gypsysoulsphotography.com. Mortgage agent Leslie Raymond with Union Home Mortgage. Contact Leslie today at 412-719-5673 and MLS 138287. PA license 29666. And of course, our good friend Matt Pia, frequent guest on this show and owner of Division 9 Home Inspections. You can visit Matt at division9inspection.com. You can also visit Matt at 412-715-8123. And of course, this show is sponsored by my website, calleric.com, and its sister site, which quite frankly is the same place, at ericmckenna.com. Next week, we're going to talk about my commitments that I make to my buyer clients. That's right, my buyer clients. We're going to go through some of the same tenets. Some of them are very similar to what I commit to my listing clients, but there are some differences as well, and we will get through that. And again, these are the tenets I believe that any realtor should offer their buyer clients. Okay, friends, and we're wrapping up our show here today, and as we always do, I'm here joined by Sir Frank Sparks, my producer, my good friend, and Mr. Beaver County Radio, and what I consider to be one of the most knowledgeable baseball enthusiasts in my sphere. So, Pirates, here we are. Buyers or sellers, Frank?
None of the above.
What does that mean?
Status quo.
So they're basically, they're maybe buyers?
Status quo.
So you just want to see how far they will go. How many? You want to see how far the current horses can take them.
I didn't say that's what I want to see. That's what we're going to see. That's exactly what we're going to see, I think. I don't think...
You think so?
I think if Huntington makes any type of move, it'll be a very small move that will not really affect the Pirates that much. I don't see any major acquisitions. I don't see McCutchen being traded. I don't see Cole being traded. They're still in a race here, even though their record's not that bad.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. My thoughts are this. As down on Andrew McCutchen as I was, is as high as I am on him right now. And that's not being a bandwagon fan. That's being a Pirate fan. That's somebody that wants him to perform. And this, what we're seeing now, is what we should have always been seeing. Granted, every player has their ups and downs. But I find it uncanny he could be that bad and then immediately that good.
I think the question is going to be more than buyers or sellers is going to be, what do you do with Marte when he comes back July 18th?
Well, I think you got to put him in left field. I think Hurdle already said he's not going to center. He's going to left field. McCutchen's going to stay in center, and it's going to be by committee, obviously, in right field. You'd like to think Polanco's your guy, but I don't know.
What are you going to do with Frazier then? Frazier needs to stay in the lineup.
Yes, he does. And this is not the American League where there's no DH. He's got to find a spot to play there, and I don't have an answer for you there. I don't. I will say this. I've become less and less of a Garrett Cole fan, and it has nothing to do with wins and losses. I really believe, what was said a long time ago by Ray Miller. Remember Ray Miller, the Pirates? He was their Pirates pitching coach in the Jim Leland era. Right. Ray Miller would lament about how imperative it was for a pitcher to keep their composure under any circumstance. You looked at Nolan Ryan as an example. He may growl once in a while, but you never knew if it was 10-0 his way or 0-10 the other way. Garrett Cole wears his motions on his shirt sleeve, and I am telling you, it's not serving him well now, and it's not going to serve him well regardless of what team he ends up on.
Let's just say Garrett Cole didn't hang out with A.J. Burnett enough when he was here.
That's exactly right. Okay, my friends. Hey, Missy. Missy's checking in late. How are you, my good friend? You've been listening to Your Personal Realtor here on Beaver County Radio. It's been a tremendous day. On behalf of yours truly, thank you for tuning in on Facebook Live and listening on wide area coverage of Beaver County Radio. Frank, thank you so much for everything. I can't do the show without you. You did a tremendous job. And, of course, please stay tuned for a very important message from me. On the other side of this message will be Town Hall News. But thanks again for tuning in, and please stay tuned because the message is coming up right now.